So before we begin working on our compositing, I would just want to show some of the resources where you use it. For example, this painterly background they're using, it's actually was created by me inside the Vue. And for those who's not familiar, Vue, it is a 3D environmental application. This is just some examples of what I was done. I created terrain, put plants, adjustment lighting. This is like a swamp type of a view. And after render at very high resolution with HDR, RAI, and other format with the sky isolation, so it's allowed me to replace if needed in a Photoshop, which allowed wide variety. You can use this image in different things. But so it will take some time to create this, to apply texture, to do all the stuff in the render. And so here are some examples inside the Photoshop, and you can see it's creating all this painterly kind of effects, painterly backgrounds that I want to use in my Renaissance type or Baroque Rococo type of the compositing. And I understand not everyone have the ability to create them or have the application, everything. So because of that, I created a special pack, and it is painterly background. If you're interested, it's a geekatplay.gumroad.com. And inside you can see it's a 9 those very highly painted kind of looking background. They come with, of course, Photoshop format, with HDR format. And I'm going over process. I'll show you how we can even enhance those. They also included tone mapped, alpha maps there, and also already pre-processed it, ready to use, just drag and drop with beautiful skies. So we'll look on this one, but for those who cannot create it, this pack is available. It's have 9 very high resolution. So this is just in case if you interested in this, you want to use those backgrounds. How say, because I create them from beginning everything, they are royalty free. When you purchase, you can use it in your commercial products or other things if you need it. Please don't resell packs by itself. It's not for resale, it's just only to use inside your work. Okay, and right here, just example for this, we're going to use probably this one, background vertical, because I have a model I want to apply. We'll see how we composite it, overlay compositing we'll do with this, or you can just masking compositing, whatever you decide. Many times you'll notice it was prepared to make a 2/3, so it's a open classic layout. You can use it as put it fit on a ground if you need here, or you can put it overlay, but it's what we're going to do. We'll probably put fit a little bit down. We'll play around, we'll see how it's come up with that. So let's go ahead and start beginning. Let me close it. Some of this we'll want to go use it. This one we will probably use this one background. I just like how it's look, and we're going to use it in with compositing. Before begin this, let's go ahead and see the process, what we're going to do. And as usual, the background when I render on this, it includes several files. So the one file it's included, of course, it's Photoshop itself file, and this is out of render. Notice the sky, it's plain with no clouds, nothing, because we're going to replace, and I found out we can render with nice, beautiful clouds there, but I find it is set kind of limitation a little bit to us. So in every file, if you notice in the channels, you have extra alpha files. So alpha file, we can control command click on this. That will select all of the options. Let's create new layer, and we'll just go create a mask on this. So this mask, you can see it is remove the sky, which is kind of nice, but pre-render, so we don't need it masking everything, and it's actually does, because mask come from 3D applications, remove teeny tiny spots. So which is work for us very well in this case. Also, if you don't want to do, some of them included separate alpha mask. You can use it in other cases. And of course, it's come with HDR. HDR you can process, and reasons why I'm included HDR, because it provide more dynamic range on the lighting, better on the textures and other options. And what I find out, I like to kind of compose them together. So what I was meaning by composing them together, let's go just this hide for now the mask so we can overview. And I'm going to open application. This is Photomatic Pro. You can do HDR process and other ones. And HDR, it's a render quite a bit in lighting scheme. But because it's a wider than our screen can present, we need to kind of remapping some of those values, making available to view an 8-bit screen or 10-bit screen, depending on what you have a display. So for this one, we're going to open our HDR file. And you notice right here, it's have a 32-bit HDR. I'm going to open only in the application. This process to tone mapping can be different depending on applications. This again, Photomatic Pro and Photoshop probably will do a little bit different. So we'll go ahead and click on tone mapping in this case. And you notice right here we have it created. Look on this texture, how better they're coming up. So adjustments, I'm using detail enhancer with a pop-up a little bit more on the contrast between darker highlights and shadows. And you can look our white points and black points on to the 0, micro zoom to the 0. So I want this contrast and details come up in lighting. Well, let's go ahead and click finish. So it will actually process. Okay, and post-processing, we can increase sharpness, done. So at this point, you can go ahead and save this file if you're using. For those who does not have this, you don't need to worry about this tone mapping because the files, of course, included in a box. And this is an example. Let me open one. Right here, you can see the tone mapping. Again, if we compare, and the reason why I like to use the HDR, just look, for example, on this texture right here on a tree. You see how well it's coming up, and if we look on other ones, this is a little bit overdone with lighting. So it's not necessary all the way, but it does help you to showing better details and textures. To relay those details, let's go to our tone map it, and we'll just grab, drag, and drop on top on other ones. You'll notice it says there it's different format, of course, because we have it 8 and 16-bit, and we're going to just place it over. Go turn on off. You can see right here. So I don't want to use exactly the same. I just want in some details. For this one, we're going to press Alt and click on the mask it's creating. Mask and hiding this layer. Now we can use it our normal tool brush. We have it soft round. Let's go with 10%. And for example, right here, I can kind of start brushing this to create a little bit more in the shadows. Okay, so we can add on the grass some details in the areas where I want to have a little bit more details. There you go. Don't worry too much about sky. Remember, we will replace it. When we're done with this, we want to combine them together. So what I'm doing, I'm taking this mask. Okay, go just create new folder with the to our edit, and we'll take this mask and we'll put it in a folder. So right now what's happening, we can see we have 2 layers and this mask hiding from both of them. So we don't need to worry about that high dynamic range, HDR, sky. We remove from both of them, but we still have it nice, beautiful details add a little bit. This is not necessary step, it's optional, but it does every small thing add something more and more to this. So the next what we want to do is add sky, and we can add the sky before we have it kind of painterly effect or other ones. And what I'm saying by painterly, we can actually use it special brush, kind of simulated brush strokes or oil paint filters inside of Photoshop, which will add even better smoothness effect. But usually I found it's nice to do when we have it with a sky. So in this case, it will kind of blend better together. So let's go ahead and find different skies. Skies, it is, you can use it skies would already come, but how say if you want, you can easily replace. We're going to do this. And I'm just using one that I downloaded from internet, from different packs. The purchase, if you need it, I also have it my own clouds. You can purchase the pack as well. Or again, if you are a Patreon supporter, you can access to a lot of these for free. So sign up as Patreon supporter. You have access to free backgrounds, free clouds, and a lot of excellent discounts and other videos. Anyway, so let's go look on different clouds. So this is one of them, and I'm just placed in stretch, so it's cover. And of course I want to match lighting, so lighting going from left to right. Currently it is from right to left. We'll go to image, edit, transform, and we'll go flip horizontally. Then is lighting matching on our image, and we can see how we want to display. So we can readjust a little bit, I think around there maybe. So this is one of them. Okay, we can try put it even different. So let's go try this one, see how it will look. And I'm not sure if I want to go brighter or darker, so we can play a little bit more around which one, what color we need it. But I think other ones may work actually better, so I'm going to just keep this one for now. We can always change. Remember, if color does not match, we can always change color on the foreground or background. So on the clouds, we can go ahead and add curve. You can also add just selective colors or wherever you need it. And with a curve, be sure you switch to the color mode blend. It's one effect, luminosity. And here we can also just going and just slightly adjust the colors, just so that they're a little bit matching ours. One thing what I want to edit also, we have this alpha map, but if I'm looking a bit closer, because we change our sky, and if you remember, this is our sky before, and mostly important, pay attention to little details like right here around leaves, we have it anti-aliasing. If we're putting darker, you can see we have this little bit glowing effect happen. So usually it's 1 pixel anti-aliasing. One way to make it blend better, we can take mask, shrink, and make feathering. To do this, hold down Control or Command, click on a group on a mask that is selected. Next we go select, modify contract. We contract by 2 pixels, so make it smaller, and we're going to select modify feathering by 1 pixel. And of course after this we can go ahead and let's go just back here. There you go. We'll select, and we can fill up, so you can see this is all will be removed, so we need to be careful with this. Select, modify, actually we'll get inverse, okay, and there you go. So you can see it does remove it. We need to be kind of a little bit, I think, careful with this, how we're done. Let's go back to selection, so we can go select, and I think maybe select, modify. Let's go to contract by 1 pixel, okay, and select, modify feather by 1 pixel, okay. Then we go to select inverse, and we can fill up, and there you go, a little bit better. So this way, one way we can shrink them. The second, of course, we can select mask, take our brush, and we'll want to use it soft round, at least 10%, and we can work on the masking. So let's go X, it's a darker, so we want black, and we can just little bit brushing over. This is actually preferably this way, because you notice we introducing coloring blending with a background, so it's meaning it will look a little bit nicer. Okay, maybe 10% too much. Let's go to softer, like 4%, increase on the smoothing on the edges, and reduce a little bit on the flowing, so we have a very, very soft brush. And we'll just right there, you see how edges, we can just take and blend them, make semi-transparent edges, which is creating very good blend effect. And let's create semi-transparency, almost look like semi-transparency on plants, other areas. Okay. When we're done with this painting kind of effect, next what I want to do is press Ctrl Shift Alt E, Command Option Alt E on a Mac. This will take all of those layers, create new backdrop oil. Okay, so we're going right there, and for this one we'll go into filter, stylize, and we're going to use it oil paint. What oil paint does, if you look closer, you can see it's creating like those line strokes of oil. They will look very good on leaves, blending better, and again, for what we're doing, it should work for us very, very good. So now we can go ahead and look a little bit closer. Oops. Okay, let's go click OK here, and you can see it is creating like oil painting. Work very well on the leaves, and other ones also make them blend. However, I want to make increased sharpness on this. We'll use the unsharp mask, and we'll pop up at 180, so it's increased a little bit more contrast on those brush strokes. Next, we'll go on Alt or Option and click on a mask, which is taken hiding. And the reason, it was a little bit too strong for me. So now with the brush transparency, I can brush in slightly back those opacity 4. Let's go pop up opacity a little bit higher, maybe around 8. And reducing a little bit on the smoothing around there. So now you can see I can brush back in some of this effect. Again, if we come closer, you notice how they become more painting alike. And most like these edges, so they start blending together beautifully. Again, this is we already have a background that looks somewhat like painting effect. But with this we can create better. And some like maybe on a right here on the backgrounds, a little bit on the plants. We don't need to do too much, but just add. And mostly on the leaves. The leaves is actually will come up very well. Small details, sky a little bit, add, create this nice paint alike effect. Okay, let's go ahead when it's done. Let's go preview, see what we have. And you can see we have nice, beautiful, like leaves blending naturally. Okay, so that is good background. Let's go right now, take our model and put it in. Okay, for this one, I'm going to Adobe Bridge, and there's a from Photoshoot. I use it. We're probably going to use this model. We'll go double time click, opening, and put it inside there. Camera raw, because the image original was shot on a Canon R5 with the 3 lights set up. Of course, our backlighting, this backlighting will help us a little bit more blend with lights. Again, the sun even does not come from this area. We'll need it a little bit dim down and play with lighting, but again, installation, it should provide us with very good lighting matching. Let's go take our highlights, bring down to smooth. This way we'll pop up shadows slightly up, increase sharpness, and usually I increase sharpness to compensate for anti-aliasing inside the camera that does. We're also going to luminosity on color mixer and bring back a little bit on orange and maybe a little bit on yellow. The reason is highlights, when we take down, we have it overexposure like in a hair and other elements. I don't want that overexposure. I don't want to lose information. And mainly we lose information because cameras shoot with much higher resolution, dynamic range resolution on the shadows and highlights than we see on a screen on our monitors. So what we're doing all this process to just take this information kind of almost like HDR, almost bring them down, map it and write in visible range in the range that our monitor can display it. We map it in this case, and so that is provide a bit better viewing. However, the side effect, it's a flatten our image because we shrink those shadows highlights. By increasing a little bit luminosity in orange and yellows, we mostly will affect skin tone to bring back. So it's almost like deflating slightly. Also, I was using chromatic abbreviations check-in and use the profile correction on the optic. So it's fixed just for the lens. Without this, the edge, you will see some chromatic abbreviation as well. Lens correction, just kind of distortions and vignetting. Okay, also notice that I'm working with a 16-bit channel, and I'm working in Adobe RGB color space. You can have your own color space. However, I do recommend 16-bit workflow because it will provide less fringing when you do gradients, color, and others. So we're ready. We'll go ahead, open, and that is should open Photoshop our image right now. So let's go ahead and look closer what we need to do. We definitely need to remove some elements here, but we have the beautiful gray background, which should be very easy to blend with what we have background already. First, to work on this, we'll go create duplicate layer, what we have it, and we'll go take the patch tool, and the patch tool we can just simply select, move, adjustments, like just fix, remove some of those elements that we don't need it. Don't worry too much about make it perfect looking, because that will go overlay here, but I wanted some close enough, because otherwise will start popping up, will be too much visible. So we'll also take this leg, just move it around here and remove shadow. I think that is almost about all what I want to do on a background. Next, we'll go create new layer. Let's go call it Retouching. We'll go select spot healing tool. Let's go close to model face, and you can see sometimes we have a little bit elements. We'll just go ahead and very fast fix them. I don't want to remove all imperfection. I want just slightly dim them down. In perfect skin, it's what make skin look very perfect, but I don't usually I dim down elements that is take definitely kind of pull out your attention to them. If they pull out attention from the eyes and other elements, that is mean they're too much. So you want to dim them down. But there you go. Leave them a couple like right there. Okay. I think that is all on the skin. So let's go ahead next. We'll just little bit smooth on the skin. For this, I press Ctrl Shift Alt E, Command Option Alt E on a Mac to take all visible layers, merge them in one, and create this new layer. And this will be smoothing. Okay, and a smoothing, you go to Filter, Noise, Dust and Scratches. And in Dust and Scratches, we'll set pixels so we can look. This may be a little bit too much, so let's bring back. I want to see kind of like these eyebrow, eyes maybe, but I don't want to see small details on the skin, teeny tiny. So this has helped me around like this. Probably will work very well. Let's go ahead and click OK. And now again, because we apply effect over on all layer, we want to hide this layer. Alt or Option and click on a mask it's creating. And using brush tool, we can now work, apply this effect, not all the way 100%, 10% opacity. We can apply in areas. And what it does, it's reduce little bit of this, because moving, it's reduce contrast of the elements on the skin. And when I say about contrast of the elements, all what we see right here, color does not give it a shape. Luminosity, black and white, give it a shape. So if you look, let's actually do this way. Let's go ahead and set black and white. If you look right now, the skin texture only representing by those dark areas and light areas. So difference between them in our brain, we see this as translation as a skin pores or other things. All are larger, like in the nose. Right here, it's a darker. So if we flatten, we can make just total all gray, and that's one BC as a nose, because we know the shape cannot be recognized. Our monitor is only in 2D working, so it's not 3D in this case. And because we don't have parallax, all sizes we can judge again by shadow and highlights. By using this smoothing tool, smooth out, we are reducing contrast between those areas. So, and this is giving us perspective, or faking to look like skin is much smoother. Again, this is just dimming. I don't totally replace. If you want, you can go all the way and after add a little bit more specular lighting, and you will have it porcelain kind of all looking skin. Currently I'm just moving so it is dimmed down some of those kind of effect on the skin, so it's just look a little bit more painting to me on our skin. So right here, let's go create. And also I think we have a little bit on the foot, and we can just go right there, a little bit on the foot. I don't know if we will have foot inside, but I'll just like to do this. So this is one. Next, if you remember, in before we did with the leaves, we apply this oil effect, kind of, you know, all brush painting. So we're going to do same, Control Shift Alt E, Command Option Alt E to create new layer. Let's go call it oil. So we're going to apply filter effect. We'll go filter, stylize, oil painting. Okay, we'll go click OK. And same, I want increase contrast between those brush strokes. So I will go to use the actual sharpen and sharp mask on this. Okay, we'll do same. And now I don't want to apply everything. I just want on a hair. And this is tool work very well with the hair. It's make hair look cleaner and nicer. And mostly it does make reason why it make hair look cleaner, because it will look, and our perception of hair is one long string. However, when we photoshoot, if you look, it's have this cross sections. So this filter, it's giving us perception of long hair, but we don't want like this, of course. So let's go Alt, create new mask. We want a little bit less. And now with mask creating, we can paint a little bit on the hair over in those specific areas where we want this effect to be applied. And this is a combination with this effect. Another one, since will give it us this clean hair looking, painted hair look. Okay, and as we paint it, maybe does not look as much at the beginning, but if we look right here, like in these areas, before, oops, okay, where's that? There you go. Before and after, you can see how it does look a little bit more cleaner, like in those round. So this is what we want, and I don't touch anything with this tool except hair. Sometimes if we have a flower in the scenery, I will also touch flower. Fur work very well with the fur, and in some cases if you need it, fix it. Well, example right here, you see how it's going this line if you don't like it. So let's go set 20% right now. You can also just go very fast over seams, and it will kind of almost like dim them and creating kind of a line. You can see, just make, so you don't need to do everywhere, you can just in small areas, but create lines here and remove this very fabricated kind of look, almost line. So we'll go right there, and let's go zoom out. There you go. So you can see, just make a little bit nicer look on a hair. Next, what I want to do, it is give it a little bit more shape to our model, to face another ones, and we'll do this by working again with luminosity level, because that is what representing shape to us. For this one, we'll just use what people use in the black dodge and burn. So it's D and B, dodge and burn. We'll go fill up with 50% gray. You can do clear level, you can use it any other tools. Just what I usually do. I like this better, and we're going to use just brush with black and white. Again, you can use it just the normal tools right here. You have a specific dodge and burn, and I did explain how they work. It's won't be that big different. Just use whatever tools you think it will work very well for you. So I'm going to increase specular lighting, and we'll just start right here with the nose. You see where the light's going. I'll just a few times click to create this, and look on the perception. So we put it just one dot. Yes, look how it's changed. So it's give it a little bit more perception of the object, because it's how we perceive it. Okay, right here, maybe increase. And this is not environmental driven lighting. So what is meaning by environmental? Right now, I'm just work on a model. When we're going to composition, when we start putting inside the composition, that our lights may be changed. Then we'll have it environmental driven lights. Lights, the shadow and highlights will go from environment. Okay, and also remember I told you we have a little bit, so I want dim a little bit right here on the hair, so it's not as bright, and you can see how it's worked very well. And we'll have it lights, highlights going on the side. So even right now we can add even a little bit more highlights here. That will do more in environmental. Okay, right now let me just take it and kind of overall apply on the shape. And we'll go 10%, a little bit darker. So I think this one will work very good. Okay, so we create the model. Let's go next. What we want to do is take from our background top, we'll group this together. Usually when I create model, before I do anything, I like to convert to the smart object. One of the main reasons smart object, because and resizing, it's when you start losing resolution. So this will help me to preserve this. And we'll take it and go to our background, and we can drop in our background. Okay. So right there we have it, our model. And let's just a little bit reduce opacity to see what we have it. So you can see model is large. We can take it, few things we can apply. One, we can obviously take it and reduce, putting like her maybe right here in the ground between grass. So we can do this way. And maybe somewhere like around there. And we can mask with the feet in the grass, just put it around there. Okay. Or we can also just give it full size and bring her down. This is probably the most easiest way to do it. And that's what you see people does, because you don't need worried about feet, how they're set, how they're realigned there, and then you need to put it like maybe around there. We can even go higher and create even more like a painting almost effect, putting her like right there. So either way, we can go one way or another to do. So I think, you know, let's go hardest way we can go, okay? And that is meaning we're going to place her in forest, maybe like around there, and just to scale so she look a little bit, maybe around there, more accurate. Okay. So usually when I do this way, I will probably using my pen tool to isolate, because say we can do overlay. So overlay mode, what I'm meaning by this, it is when you have a full screen, you just create it, and next you're using masking tool, and you just start kind of removing, well, not 100%, you probably want to go down a little bit, but you kind of start blending in. And this way you have it, your texture kind of going through almost. And I like this because it will create look almost like a background coming. The other ways we can do it is using pen tool, going around her and just removing it this way. So I'm not sure which one I'm still looking, because this way she will look a little bit small. We can push it like around there, maybe around here, place her so she kind of will look in a forest. You know, this one may look better. I don't know about large, but it's just so many options and it's nice. But if we work this way, I will use my pen tool because that will work better everywhere except for the hair. So, and we'll start from probably right here point. We'll just go and start masking her out. Okay, closer. And usually you want to do about 1 pixel. If you're not very familiar with the pen tool, what you do, you click and you drag and you have this handle, just follow the curve. You know, this is probably hardest parts to work with the curves. But if you just have a simple rule, you go and you follow the curves, then you'll notice your lines just will lay down with shape. Nice things about to do the pen tool is provide very precise and very good blending, and we always can use it anti-aliasing simulation after on the vector based look, so it will come up very nice and very clean. Let's go right here, and what I want to do next is actually pause this video. So let me go ahead, pause till I'm almost done with vectoring, because I don't want you to go and see how I'm doing this for next few minutes. And I will come back to this video as soon when I'm almost done with circling around. Okay, so I did like circle around. It does not actually take that long at all. And right here I come to the hair. What about hair I like to do, it's, see, I'm going around. Okay, and the reason is because hair will be much easier we can do with a color tool, but beside color tool, just with normal brush and blending, we can achieve way better result there. So when we're done, right click, create vector mask, and now we have the mask done around there for our model as vector mask. Next, I want to add more mask around her, and we'll do this by selecting paint raster mask, and you can see we can do right there with raster mask very easy this. Okay, we'll go closer to her hair and we'll just use it. In many cases what I do actually, I have it like select color range, and you can also go, if you want, you can try select by color range this area. It sometimes will helpful. So like right there, let's go just add a little bit more, like right here. Look at, and because we did let's go right here, just add a little bit element right there, because we come very close to the hair around, we need to ignore everything except just edge of the hair. That's why I like to do this way. And again, if we do this way, we can just go select like maybe around. I think this one will work. Let's go ahead, click OK, and Command Control I to inverse, and you can see we created somewhat mask that we can work around. Inside, of course, it's look a little bit scary, but no problem. Shift, click on a mask to open, and we can use it 100% white. For this one, we actually want to use hard edge, okay? And we can just kind of like masking inside. It's don't need it. So we'll just do, actually, I'm not sure about that. Let me see. Yeah, it's good. Okay. So we just go up to here with the hair about going. Okay. Remember, at this point, we already cut off. So up to here. And here's combination of the vector and non-vector. So it's meaning at this point, we can easily just take a brush and just go wild. Just remove everything. Because vector mask, it will hold for us isolation down there. Okay. There you go. Let's go now closer to hair, and I can see some lines which we can very easy to work on. Again, we'll take our brush tool. We'll have it our soft round for this, and let's go set opacity to about maybe 6%, smaller size, and we can start painting. Okay, let's go to increase flow, so it will go a little bit faster. 10% probably will be good. And you can see I'm just going over, and we can paint slightly over here. Be sure the edge is kind of blending together a little bit nicer. Okay. Worst parts, it will be probably around lighter background, lighter sky. So there we need to pay a little bit more attention, maybe even increase to 30%. And by the way, I'm using just key 1, 2, 3, 4, and you need this right here. You see where's opacity. Pressed 1, it's 10%, 2, 20. If you press fast like 3, 3, it's become 33, or single 30%. So I would highly recommend for you to kind of learn at least one shortcut per use in Photoshop, and soon you realize you know them very well, and they save a lot of time for you, so they will be very good. Okay, right here we applied, and you can see just the edges of the hair, which is work very well to blending inside. Maybe right here I need to work slightly more, we'll see afterwards. But here we kind of added one thing, of course, contrast is jumping my eyes. The luminosity levels of the dark, it's too black, and background have a little bit different, so we need definitely work on luminosity, and as well some right here blending with the foot going down. As we in this mask, what I want to do is just slightly apply mask down with her translucency, mostly because translucency of her clothes. Okay, there you go. So let's go work. Before we continue, we can take this and position her around, and you can see as we position, we can look where do we want to place her. I think around there may be kind of nice. Again, middle, it's too strong. Now we'll need to put to the edge, maybe around here. I think that one may work. Placed around here. I think this is a little bit better. Okay, let's go next. Work on the feet blending, and I do not necessarily want to use the mask that we have already. So for this, we're going to create new folder, and we'll take this model, put in this new folder. And next, we're going to create a new mask on a folder. So in this case, mask on a mask. In this case, I can easily work with her feet to blend them in. Usually I have it like patch of grass, we can put it over. But if you don't have it, it's okay. What we're going to do, we're going to cut off some of this, like around there. And usually you can see we have like flowers, okay? And those flowers definitely going up front of her. So we're going to select some of these, put in a grass, and kind of work with this. It's maybe hard for us to isolate. We could select, because it's specific color, we could select just the color, and this will help us to isolate those flowers. So let's go do this way. We're going to select color range, and let's go to, okay, right here, let's hide this one. So we'll select on our, again, select, okay, select color range, and I want to select the flowers. So right there, we can even increase slightly more. Too much, maybe just leave it like right there. So this is our flowers. And the selection is done. Now we can go back to this mask and see what's happening if I erase. So it is, let's go. We can erase them. Okay, we can bring them back. It's not what we wanted. We want to go to select and inverse. So now it's going in other areas. And let's go X. And you can see we can kind of paint back right here. So we paint some of those. Okay. And let me see again. Okay, I think that is good on the flowers. We can just check, and you can see flowers kind of going up front of her, help us a little bit blend in. Also, I think right here it's a little bit too transparent. So let's go ahead back to the layer inside, and we can just remove some of this transparency. So I think it was a little bit too much. Okay, zoom out, we can see how the flowers start embedding. Okay, this one will have a little bit more work. Okay, because we have it, this grass, which is again kind of nice. You can see how they're going. So let's go color wise. So we'll go to select color range, and we'll go select Oops, actually it's not one. Select here, and we'll go select again color range. We'll go select on a grain. Okay, around there. So there you go. Click OK. Go back to our model, and we'll go to select inverse. I will be sure this is restored. Now we can go select inverse again. X to make it the black, and we can kind of paint back some of this. So right here we want to bring the grasses back. Mostly it is front one, so it will help us to sell this perspective like the front of the model. Okay, and let's go to uncheck. There you go. You can see how they come up front of our model. It's look like she's standing behind. Right there with the foot, because we see ground. Let's go back here, select brush, and that one will take a little bit longer time. Okay, 10%, but we need it kind of almost like gently paint back in. Okay, right there. Okay, let's go back in and just paint slightly. Don't worry about too much of the adjustments, but right here, there you go. That's look a little bit more natural, I think. Okay, let's zoom out. There you go. There's our feet. Okay, these ones look like up front, and we'll start working with shadow and highlights. So at this point, I think our masking okay. Now we can create new layer. Let's go above the model, so we don't want to do in a folder. Want to be sure it's above, and global dodge and burn, fill up with 50% gray, link to our model, and switch to soft light. So this way now we can actually work on the shadows and highlights. And we can look how the light's going. So we can actually create a little bit more on her face. Like right there, add more highlights. Okay. So there you go, kind of blending her in almost in this way. Switch to the shadows, add a little bit shadows maybe on the ground. You know, maybe less, kind of almost like, there goes. Okay, let's look before and after. So it is kind of embedding almost. We could, let's create additional curve. And we'll going this color. Okay, adjustments. So we want to link, again, Alt or Option. When you're going, you can see we have an arrow. We're clipping all to our model, which is nice because there you can see they're all kind of linked together. And on the color, of course, we need to switch to color blending mode. Let's go to the blue, add a little bit to the yellow, not too much, just slightly to blend the model there. We'll go to the red and move it just a little bit to the green. So we can almost like matching, blending the lighting inside. Let's have some nice techniques about blending, and I may link the video how to do properly color matching, but this one was very easy because visually you can see how we can very easy to blend them together. Next, what I want to do is add a little bit grain, and a little bit grain is, if we're looking, we have it on the model. In one case we have one type of grain, yes, like right here, one type of grain. On a face, when I smooth it, different. Sky have a different grain. Render high resolution have it almost no grain. So for this one, we'll need to create new layer. Okay, let's go call, actually, I delete my other ones. So let me go back to history. Okay, right there. Yep, that one. Okay, let's go create new layer. And this one we'll call grain. We'll fill up with 50% gray. And we're going to filter, noise, add noise. And just 5% of noise should work. And switch to the soft light. Very light grain, but if we look at, you can see the grain kind of will unify edges, unify gray. It's given this nice, interesting perspective. Next, before I want to add, and actually maybe before under grain, let's create dodge and burn. Another dodge and burn. I do like them, but this one instead will affect everything. So it's not just a one image, it will affect everything. And that way we can actually create, for example, highlights. So we can create global highlights going from this like light rays. Yeah, we can go on model. We also can go and create darker, like framing almost around. And this way we can almost force the viewer to look on a specific areas where we want them to look. Okay, so this is kind of almost like global dodge and burn. Above the grain, Control Shift Alt E, Command Option Alt E, and we'll go this color correction adjustment. Maybe we can done this with a different way, and I'll show you how to do with the selective colors, but this is one of them. We can go filter, filter forge, and in filter forge I'm going to use a filter that I pre-created before. It is a phototone, and it just helped me very fast color blend with a specific kind of look what I wanted. So we'll just go a little bit to the reddish. Let's go click apply, and that way we have a nice interesting contrast applied to this as well. We'll have a beautiful some coloring adjustment, and this is also help us blend all these different components in one. And if it's too strong, let's take it down. Now also, you don't necessarily need to do this. You can also do with a just selective colors layer, and we can go to like black, remove a little bit, crush black out, maybe about -1, a little bit more cold. And I like to create cyanish kind of cold looking for dark, you know what, actually warmer look, interesting in this case. Neutral, a little bit more in a warm colors we're going to do. Also, we can look on a separate greens. There's our greens color. Let's put them saturated. Let's go see what we have. This is our yellow. And yellow, we can also, yeah, let's go a little bit warmer on the yellow colors. And maybe a little bit in magenta. Let's go our cyan color. I'll bring cyan a little bit darker, more intense on the sky. This is almost like we work with luminosity levels, with coloring on specific color channels. And this has helped us to just create like special mood kind of look. Okay, so right here we have our image. And you can see how it's a feet. We have it masked slightly around the feet. So it wasn't very complex, but it was interesting. And if we're going to take all of these, let's group together. And let's look. So right here, we have our digital background that was render, and I'll show where you can get it. We have our model and import it inside and process slightly. And so we can kind of match and create interesting compositing with this. Again, model, it's almost like a fit inside the forest. It's not necessarily stand out. There are other things with this background digital compositing. We could also just take a model and maybe even just put it here on top. This is another ways we can done this. So like, for example, create here. Okay, let's go place it in. Control Command T to scale up. Okay, like around bigger, around maybe around that way. Okay, also as we change right here on the top, let me go grab this top piece, okay, and just extend. Because this way we can do overlay. And what I was saying by this, we'll group, because we'll have a top piece, create a mask, and we can also just done maybe just like this overlay this way with background. So it's multiple ways we can done, and that's what I call it overlaying kind of. This is a little bit faster, and you can see we just, and in some cases more artistic, but so kind of like this overlay in a background. This is another ways we can done with this, but I think overall this one look kind of interesting, almost like fairy tale going with this. Well, thank you again for watching this video. If you find it's interesting, give you some information, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, check on this notification button, let you know when new videos is out. As well, be sure to check the Patreon website. All of these backgrounds, they're free for the Patreon supporters, or you can purchase if you just want single time purchase to do, and also many other options available there. I will provide links for the packs for the Patrons below in the descriptions, or if you're already Patreon member support, don't forget to go and get this pack for free from the posting. Again, thank you for your time, and hopefully you'll create art. And as you're creating with this background, please share with me, showing what you've done, what kind of work you do, just interested in overall what you have done with them. Again, thank you. You have fun, creative time.